All right, back in the basement again, and I thought I'd go ahead and walk you guys through how I set up the Juggernaut AI programming, especially to prep for a powerlifting meet. So I just recently signed up for my next powerlifting meet. It's going to be May 1st, so that puts me, I think, about 15 to 16 weeks out. And one of the things that I like about the program is you can tell it when your meet date is, and it's going to craft a program for you. So I thought I'd just go ahead and walk you through, and I'm sure I'll do some sort of screen share so you can see exactly what I'm gonna do. Now, first things first, where I'm starting is at a basic starting point. If you just sign up for the app and let the app pick your meet date or test out date, it puts you, in my experience, something like 180 days out. So it's a really long training cycle. And if you don't have a meet upcoming, I think it's the best to do that because it's going to give you a good mix of everything and plenty of time to get stronger, whatever you're really trying to do. But in this case, I want to adjust and adapt that because obviously my meet is a lot sooner than 180 some days out. So what I do is I go in here to the settings and I go to my program and I'm going to do new program. Now you could just do a meet date, which is going to reset your current cycle and do whatever. For this certain circumstance, I'm going to show you what happens when you put in a brand new program, because in this case, it lets you choose a lot of the things going into it, where if you do just new meet date, it's going to keep a lot of the inputs you already put in. So I want to show you guys exactly what you're going to see. So I'm going to go create new program. It's going to say this is going to overwrite your other one. Are you sure you want to do that? Yes, I do. I do want to do powerlifting. Now you can do power building and do that into a meet, but again, I'd like to get as specific as possible here. So powerlifting makes the most sense. Now, what are my weight goals? In this case, I'm going to track my macros and plan my meals somewhat around training. I just want to make sure that I'm taking in what I need to take in. For my diet goals, I'm going to put, I plan on maintaining weight. As of right now, I weigh 218 pounds, give or take a pound or so. The USAPL, which is the meet and federation I'll be competing in, just recently switched over to 100 or 110 kilogram classes. So that's either 220 or 242. So I don't think it really makes sense to bulk or try to gain weight and be at the very bottom of that 242 list. And I've just been more comfortable weighing at 218. And even if I do go on a slight surplus, I still should be able to meet that 220 goal. So I'm going to keep it for there. So I plan on maintaining weight. I will note that if you are doing a longer training cycle and you put into the app that you're planning on gaining weight, you tend to get more hypertrophy blocks out of the system versus if you put on like losing weight or whatever, it knows that you're not in a caloric surplus, so it's not going to give you as many hypertrophy blocks. So, all right, I plan on maintaining weight. Let's go to the next one. And training days, I'm going to keep them similar to what I've always done on the program. And even off the program, I usually only train Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Fridays. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to put my start date as Monday because that's when I want to start. I don't want to start today, which is a Saturday at the time of filming. So I'm going to confirm that. I'm going to go next. It's going to talk about testing your strength and blah, blah, blah. Do you want to set your own meet and test date? It normally recommends for you not to, again, so it can take you through a full training cycle. But in this case, I'm going to hit yes, and I'm going to put it as May 1st, 2022. I'm going to hit next. I'm going to confirm that. It's going to ask you about periodization. Do you want to pick your own styles? No, I'm going based off of what the app recommends. It's treated me really well to this point. No point in manually overriding that. It's going to ask if I want to do a bridge block. It has an explanation of what that is too, but think of it as a bridge into a new program. So it gives you a little bit of break from the same movements over and over again, let your body adapt and recover. And for a lot of people, gives your mind a chance to reset. And I found from doing a bridge block, I'm really dying to get back to normal powerlifting training after the point. I'm at the point right now, however, where given the time that I have for this meet, which is again like 15 or so weeks, I think that's a perfect length of a training cycle. So I'm not going to do a bridge block right now. It's going to ask you to input your maxes, and it does pull from history here. I'm going to adapt this a little bit just because I like to be a little bit of an undershoot versus an overshoot. I'd rather it increase my weights as I go versus starting out way too heavy. So I'm just gonna put 600 pounds for my squat. My bench 1 rep max, I'm gonna knock this down to 330 for the time being. My deadlift 1 rep max, I'm going to knock this down to, let's just say 615 for now, and I'm gonna hit next. And again, over the course of the program in the 15 weeks and some of those max effort days, you'll get a chance to reset those maxes if they are dramatically too low or dramatically too high in some cases too. It's going to ask what kind of technique you use. I squat low bar. I would say I have somewhat of a standard grip for bench. Typically I use like my middle fingers on the ring. So middle finger, I'm going to put right in the middle, which is a standard. So not narrow, not wide. And conventional deadlift for me. And then my weak point. So picture weak points, and what this is going to do, it's going to really adapt your accessory movements. And you do have some say in what accessories you do as well, but it's going to pick your main variations and assistance movements based off this. So my squat weakness for me, I'm going to say in the hole. Typically, if I fail a squat, it's like an inch or two out of the hole, so that makes the most sense. Bench weakness, unfortunately, I can't select all of the above. In this case, I'm going to just go off the chest. That way I can work on more pauses because I think that's really important for powerlifting and actually going to a meet. Deadlift weakness, I'm going to go off the floor as well. If I can get it off the floor, chances are I can get it up. Then I'm going to go ahead and get my program. So from here, it's going to go ahead and generate it. It's going to take a minute or two. So hopefully I can waste some time. And we're good. So it tells me right here, I am 98 days out from my meet, which is on a Sunday. It looks like I have basically 2 strength training blocks and then 1 peaking block. When you go into your actual day-to-day program for each block, I'm just gonna pull up day 1 here. It's gonna give me my main movements, which is comp squat, feet up bench, 1-inch conventional deficit deads, dumbbell bench with deep stretch. Then I have some options here. What I typically like to do the very first week of a new block is when I select one, let's say for quads, for example, I really like leg extension. I have that leg extension machine. I'm gonna select that. It's gonna say just for today or for the rest of the block. If you're not sure if you like that exercise yet, it's not something you're necessarily done or you just wanna try it out, I would suggest just for today. And then what's gonna happen on day 1 of the next week, it's going to ask you to select again, but I'm gonna go for the rest of this block just because I like that movement. I know it's something that's going to be solid. And I'm going to go ahead and do that for the rest of the 4 days. Typically, starting off, I like to do this as I'm prepping because it gets me something excited to do. But when the actual day comes, if I get to that movement and I found that, previously in my mind, I thought it would be good, but by the time I get there in an actual training session, that maybe I'm tired or I don't feel like setting up what it takes to do that movement, I'll oftentimes adapt and do something that's easier to just get in and get out. Because by the time I get to those assistance movements, I've already bench, squatted, and deadlifted, and I just want to kind of get my session done. I spend most of my time doing the main movements, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on accessories. So if I need to kind of swap some of those out, I will. So that's how I'm setting up my meet. What I plan to do with this video series going forward is create a playlist and maybe do a weekly update on how each week is going. Again, being 15 or so weeks out, that's gonna be like a 15 total video. But just kind of wanna walk you through the process and maybe show you how I do this in case you're interested in doing the same, and then hopefully have a really good meet at the end of these 15 weeks. If you have any questions about the app or what I'm doing or powerlifting in general, make sure you leave it in the comment section below. But in the meantime, as always, thanks for watching and stay big.